In the mornings I get up to do my little normal cleanup. I have found literal boxes, communals, boxes of feces, where it wasn't one person, it was like 5 or 6 people, where they just like made a bathroom and then put it on the sidewalk. Hi everybody, my name is Sonja Bingham. From my perspective as a resident, I'm heavily involved with my community. I'm always out in the streets. I'm out here today, as a matter of fact, as a part of our neighborhood patrol, because we saw the forces starting to clean out McPherson Park, and we saw drug activity and more addicts and homeless infiltrating like more of the residential community. So we are being proactive to make sure that our park doesn't become Needle Park next. On any given day, we are asked to always clean up. We are, in the mornings I get up to do my little normal cleanup. I have found literal boxes, communals, boxes of feces, where it wasn't one person, it was like 5 or 6 people, where they just like made a bathroom and then put it on the sidewalk, where we just had it renovated. The streets department just did a beautiful project. It's beautiful. But now these are the things that we are always being impacted with. And I just am really at a point where I don't have a lot of more energy to be empathetic or understanding, where I see it's lopsided. I see millions and millions of dollars of resources coming here for the unhoused, yet the residents are always neglected. We have one project that's coming here, the Kensington Resilience Fund. We have $250,000 in grants that's supposedly specific for residents. But when you weigh that against the millions and millions of dollars that's being poured in for people who are unhoused, who are dealing with homelessness, mental health issues, who are allowed to be here, there's not a lot of recourse that we have, so we've now become prisoners. And so what's happened as a result of this population being allowed to live here, now the drug dealers come. Now we have the violence. Saturday we had about 12-15 new crew that came and set up shop right on my corner. And that's activity we never had before. It has really started to become very exhausting to just live here. We're being told, oh, you have to engage with the meal providers and make sure they know they have permits. And like, we just live here. We don't work for the city. You know, why is it that we're always being asked to have empathy and have understanding for their plight? But we as residents, I just want to be able to walk 6 blocks to my girlfriend and enjoy our park. I can't do that without getting on the phone and talking to her the entire time I come down here, because I'm afraid of being accosted or shot. I mean, that's the reality. Every time my kids go out the door, and thank God I didn't move here until they were grown, but they go out the door to go to work and get on the L, I'm praying like, Lord, please let them get there safe. This is not okay. This is not a quality of life that I envisioned for my retirement years. This is not a quality of life I envisioned for our black and brown community. 30 years ago, when the addiction was brown, they threw our asses in jail, right? But now, the color of the addiction has changed, and now they need resources. Once again, at the detriment of the black community. And while we have people who are progressive in their thinking process, it doesn't line up. You can't reduce jail population and not have the supportive services in place, right? So there's a lot of moving pieces where people aren't really thinking through what it is. So it has become a we versus them mentality, because we are fighting for our lives too, but we are the ones that are unheard. The homeless and the addicts are being heard. We have University of Pennsylvania doing a drug program now with the Suboxone, and they're selling it. They're paying them to be a part of the trial program, and they are now selling the Suboxone that they are receiving to be a part of the program. So when you look at that type of thing, and I can't get a tax break, you know what I mean? And I work every day, you know, so when you talk to the residents and people, we have a bad reputation and we have a stigma when we say things like, no, I don't want any Narcan training. You know, like let Newton's theory take its place. Like, let the natural evolution take its place. We get a bad rap for that. But imagine every day you get up and you got to clean up your block. And then, case in point, this morning I got up, I cleaned my block, and then I went and I voted, and then I came back and I noticed that there was drug graffiti markings on the corner. So then I go and get my paint kit that the city provided me with, because we now have to make sure that we're keeping our spaces clean. Then I paint the graffiti, go back and put the paint kit away, because I'm on my way to the park. Mind you, I do have a job in the middle of all of this to kind of police the park, because there are no rules. It doesn't make sense. Like, at some point we have to do things that just make sense, right? Instead of spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on cleaning, we have empty schoolhouses, empty warehouses. Take those millions of dollars, put these people in a housing camp situation, and send everything there. It will reduce the cost exponentially. And you just do a work to live program. You're staying here, you got to clean. You're staying here, you got to do this. And we'll stop spending money on cleaning the streets and picking up this and dumping tons and tons and tons of garbage, and really focus on programming for our children, programming for our seniors, you know, inclusive in language. Like, we have all of these different programs that are happening. They're not translated in English and Spanish. Like, there's so many things that we could be focusing dollars on that would uplift people and pull them out of the situation. But all we're doing is saying, oh no, we need to understand where they are. We can't move them. We just go and talk to them. And when they're ready, they'll get help. But in the meantime, we're the ones that are being terrorized and affected on a daily basis. It's beyond severe. We have a district attorney who just reduced the jail population over the last 3 years by over 4,000 people. And while I agree, yes, the black and brown community has been adversely targeted in all of the policing, right, and sentencing, I agree. But there has been zero supportive services on a grand scale to support the progressive movement, in which I agree in a lot of his policy changes. But when you don't have housing, when you don't have jobs, when you don't have mental health, when you come from being in prison, you need mentoring, you need counseling on a regular, you know, and you don't have all of these different services in place. You've now allowed the inmates to take control of the asylum, and that's where we are now. That's where we are. I'll tell you, the reason why I believe that Kensington, the problem has been allowed to exist here, is that first you have to talk about, one, the color of the addict, right? So the entire approach has changed. Two, the community in which they've set up shop. Now, when they were in Center City and Fairmont area, they pushed them this way, right? And they allowed to maintain it. So what did they start doing? They sent Prevention Point here. They sent this organization there. They sent all of these things, like we're sending all of these services here, and because they want to maintain the problem. So they're very happy with its status quo, with having a management-driven initiative instead of resolving-driven initiative, right? How do we fix it and eradicate it? No, we'd rather just pay to clean up. We'd rather to pay to send people out, instead of saying, you're not allowed to sleep on the sidewalks. You're not allowed to do that. And we're going to keep, we're not throw people in jail, but we're going to keep moving you along until people start to get tired of being harassed and say, let me move myself into a situation where I can sleep through the night, right? Like, we have to do things that just really make sense. I'm not saying go out and people start, have the police start beating people with batons, but like, for people to be allowed to just do whatever has landed us exactly where we are. And if we continue down this vein, it's going to get worse. We'll be at 1,000 murders next year. You know, I'm not probably the best person to ask. I have zero tolerance.
Hey, listen, keep it 100.
I have zero tolerance, you know. And I remember I was at a cleanup and someone asked me, do you want Narcan training? And I looked at him, I was like, if somebody ODs in front of me, their family's going to be planning a funeral, point blank period. I'm not going to get in the middle of that. If someone takes enough drugs to kill themselves, like, who am I to interfere with that? And I love my son, I love my daughter, but if they did that, that would be it for them. I would be calling, you know, 911 and have them wait the hour that it takes now because they're so busy servicing all of the unhoused and people with mental health on the streets that if you have a health emergency in your own home, you will never get service. You're going to die there. I would do the same thing for them. And so for me, it's not because you're an addict, it's because you're this. I am pretty black and white. I give the same energy to everyone. I'm not, you know, biased in any way. That's my particular. Some people are a little more, but I'm telling you, the overwhelming majority of our community, of the residents, they're over it. They're over it. They're tired of carrying the weight of the failure of the system to act in ways that just make sense, right? Like simple things. We asked for the meal providers not to be able to come here during hours that the office of the health department doesn't work, right? We're not the health department. The police is not the health department. So in the hours of 9 to 9, Monday through Friday, that's when people can come here and do their servicing, right? Maybe the health department needs to expand their hours because we do have such a big homeless, you know, problem here. So it doesn't put the onus on us. Like everything has been put on us where the city lacks, we now have to help clean up. And so like just do things that make sense so that, and you will find that when you take some of the weight off, you'll give us a moment to breathe and actually maybe be able to be a better part of the solution. Where it's not like survival of the fittest, it's like F them, you know, I just cleaned up urine. I had to call CLIP to have them come do sanitation because there's urine and piss on my corner. And I want the kids to be able to ride their bikes and play today.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you this much, we're definitely stepping up. We are rallying around together, and we have our network of community members that are definitely involved in making sure that our community is safe for everyone that lives here.
It's hard for me to let go, but I think that I'm finally feeling good again. So hard cause I loved you, but I'm finally feeling like myself. All of the wounds that were opened by you are now closing. I finally know how to live without hurting myself. I think that I am moving on cause I do feel less broken. I needed a sign, this is a sign that I'm healing. I'm finally healing from you.